case, a car that was allegedly associated with this incident was seen leaving that facility. They got a tag number. They put out the description on a bolo. Be on the lookout. That went out to all law enforcement, and this county was able to identify that car and stop that car. And therefore, by informing all law enforcement in the area and having all law enforcement searching for that vehicle, they quickly identified and stopped this vehicle with a potential suspect for this case. But I say potential. This car may not have actually been the one at this point that was involved with the shooting. It was a car that was seen leaving the area at the time. At least that's my understanding. So we will see the result of the interview of this person by law enforcement, whether they are a suspect in the case or if they were misidentified. We don't know at this point. It's very hard to say because of the fog of war exactly what the truth is. But you do have a car stop with a person in it that might be the party responsible for this attempted shooting. And so we will see what comes out of this press conference that they are preparing for right now to get more details.
No, that is a very good point. And of course, we don't know exactly. A lot is just still very preliminary. That's what he alluded to at the beginning of that interview, to make it known that these are not concrete details, not concrete evidence at this point. But of course, you see the kind of bolo, like you mentioned, go out looking for this particular make and model of car, the color of the car, the license plate. In terms of local law enforcement in the area, is it a matter of drop everything and look for this car? Is it a matter of keep your eye out for it? How do they go about that?
So, when something like this is put out, they put it out, but they also put it into their equipment. A lot of police cars are equipped with tag readers, and those tag readers, since they had a plate, would be alerted as soon as that tag was seen. So, this has the amplification of technology assisting law enforcement in these cases. But also, all law enforcement that is out on the roads would be actively looking for this car while they are doing their regular jobs. But a bolo like this here, incident like this, it causes law enforcement to pay special attention looking for that car and take extra effort towards finding that car. And they found it relatively rapidly here. And, it shows how successful law enforcement can be with an incident like this if they move fast enough and get there soon enough while the person's still in the area. At the same time, as you point out, this is the next county up, so he did have time to get that far away when he was finally stopped. But I'd like to underscore the fact that how much the story has changed. When we first heard about this story, it was that there was a shot fired somewhere in the vicinity, and that vicinity could be like a mile away. And then it changed from a shot fired in the vicinity to a shot fired there close to the parking lot of the facility at the golf course. And then it was two people involved with exchanging rounds there. And then it became one person and potentially a Secret Service agent, as what one report had. And now we are hearing of a suspect's car being stopped a county away as they were leaving the area. So this shows how rapidly a story can evolve, how much the story can change as more details become known. But it also shows all the miscues that were had with the earlier reports. And so that's why it's so very important to actually not speculate as to what this means as far as the greater meaning as far as threats to the president or failure by Secret Service. We just don't have the details early on to be able to say any of that. You have to wait until those details come out before you start really analyzing what's going on.
No, that is true. It's trying to decipher what is a fact from not so much so, and what's going on in the incident as it happens in real time. And that's what we do here on Live Now from Fox, react to what's happening in real time as it happens. And I do want to put up some other images we're getting right now from the Martin County Sheriff's Office on Facebook. And I want to put these up of this potential suspect, the potential car that they pursued on I 95. As this was the post, what they wrote on social media said the northbound I 95 at 714 was shut down based on a BOLO information released by Palm Beach County. The Martin County Sheriff's Office has stopped a vehicle, taken a suspect into custody, believed to be connected to a shooting incident at Trump International at Palm Beach County. We will update this information as it becomes available. You can see the amount of law enforcement shutting down I 95 in Florida, a main corridor of that in the Sunshine State. They have brought a person, as they say it, believed to be connected to a shooting incident at Trump International. And I do want to ask you, because you see these images coming in right now, Ken, of the law enforcement on hand. What do we make of this? What do we make of just the amount of force on this? They did pursue this. They say they are connected. Do we read into anything there?
So, this is a suspect that was involved in a shooting or a shooting in the vicinity of the former president. If a person is engaged in that type of shooting, they may be very well armed with other weapons in their vehicle. And so you see a involving a potential shooting here of a president. So I'm not surprised to see this many cars involved. I'm not surprised to see this becoming such an incident. But with this many law enforcement members involved, and this had gone out as a bolo to all law enforcement. So there's a lot of interest here and a lot of different police agencies working this. But now FBI and Secret Service will also have responded to this incident here, and they will be moving with the suspect to either Secret Service or to FBI office or to local law enforcement. It's not clear where they're going to go to with this suspect to conduct their interview with them. But it's not surprising to see that amount of law enforcement.
No, that is very true. The amount of people on there, as they did shut down I 95 at 714, and it is just about 4:30 Eastern time, the expected time of this update. So, Ken, we will take you out to this as soon as it happens. But until then, we're just going to continue our conversation. They are going to be updating likely Palm Beach County Sheriff. I don't know if any Secret Service agents will be on hand, spokespersons, people for them. What do you hope to learn? What do you hope to take away from this press conference? What questions might you have on the top of your mind for this press conference?
The basic facts. I'm looking to hear what the basic facts are because, as I pointed out, this story has evolved and the details have changed so much that we don't know the basic facts right this second. What we know that there supposedly was an AK-47 found in the vicinity, a GoPro found in the vicinity, a backpack found in the vicinity. We also know that we have a car stopped here on 95 uh, based upon the bolo of description of the vehicle. All of those are things that we think we know, but hopefully we will get the basic facts from this press conference. They're not going to have everything, by the way, here, and they're not going to share everything they know when they do give this press conference. But what they will give us are the basic facts, and the basic facts about what the original incident was and where law enforcement stands at this point. These are the kind of things that, by the way, we did not get right away when the incident occurred there in Pennsylvania. It took some time before we actually got that kind of detail. And then it was a long time before we got another press conference giving us an update on that, which when an incident like this happens, law enforcement really should be providing regular updates. They don't have to give all the details about where their investigation stands, but you have an awful lot of different parties interested in what's going on, and they should be providing basic facts as they uncover them.
No, that is a very good point. And like you mentioned, it's going to be interesting to hear what is said at this press conference, and maybe more importantly, who is at this press conference, because we do know Palm Beach County, the sheriff expected to be there. I don't know if any Secret Service members will be there. And I remember after that shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, talking about some of the accountability from the Secret Service. We didn't hear a ton of it. And that also might be due to the fact that the RNC, the Republican National Convention, was coming up so very soon. So people were making sure that that event was very secure. Do we expect, though, to hear from Secret Service at this press conference? Would that be something that you might expect or would hope for?
Andy, I don't know at this point. I mean, Secret Service has taken a beating over how they handled the protection of President Trump there in Pennsylvania. They've taken a beating over their actions there and their preparation for that. And so the Secret Service, because they were responsible for the protection of the president, they there was some thought that they were not present there at that initial press conference because they were a party to the incident itself. That is, they had a shared responsibility for that protection. So, as far as whether or not they will be here today, I just don't know. It'll be interesting to see who is here and who is not here as far as Secret Service goes.
No,
But
that is very
but who knows? We'll see here in a few minutes, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully they step up in a matter of moments. You imagine they're trying to get all as many details as they can, what they want to tell the public about what they know, and also what information they might need close to the vest. All right, I do want to put up this other tweet as we are in the middle of a heated campaign between the Democrats and the Republicans, between Trump and Harris. I also want to put up this email from the Trump joint fundraising committee about this, as of course you saw this as potentially an email saying there were gunshots in my vicinity, but before rumors start spiraling out of control, I wanted you to hear this first. I am safe and well. Nothing will slow me down. I will never surrender. I always loved you for supporting me. A similar context quote from him after the rally in Pennsylvania saying he will fight. That was kind of the rallying cry after that assassination attempt. I'm not going to get anything into political here with you because that's just coming out talking about how he is safe. Let me ask you, because I was talking to Scott Duffy and we didn't know. He said they would likely keep the protectee in a singular location at Mar-a-Lago, but then we saw the motorcade on the move as well. Don't know if Trump was involved in that, but you would likely assume that to be the case. Do we know anything about that? In your eyes, moving a protectee in that way, what are they doing in that moment?
So their standing order is whenever an incident happens is to get the protectee away from whatever the incident is, and so they may be moving him to a safe location out of the area. You'll recall that in Pennsylvania they had to move him to the hospital because he had been shot. Nobody's saying that was the case today. The president himself, or former president, was tweeting that he is safe, and they was dispelling any rumors that otherwise. But nonetheless, we did see that motorcade leaving the area. Whether the president was in that motorcade or not, we don't know. You would think that since Mar-a-Lago is his residence, that if there were a safe location, it would be there. But again, at the same time, this incident occurred nearby there at the golf course at Mar-a-Lago, and so I just can't say where that where that motorcade was traveling to, or if the president was in that motorcade.
No, that is a very good point. It's kind of interesting just to note what transpired there, as well as we're awaiting this press conference, this update, and potentially we'll hear about his location, where he's going, why they moved him, if he was in that motorcade as well. But we do know the suspect in custody after multiple gunshots near Trump. Let's talk about something you also mentioned about this. You mentioned the vicinity of this. I know information very fluid, not a ton of details right now, but you also mentioned just maybe how close it could be versus how far it could be. When you hear the word vicinity, what do you think of? And do we have any details in your mind about how actually close this was to Trump?
So again, the details are evolving.
Yeah.
Originally, the word was in the vicinity, which could be a mile away, but then it started being much closer to the parking lot. President Trump had been playing golf. He had then gone to have lunch. He was leaving the facility, whether he was in the parking lot or if he was about to leave, it's not clear. But vicinity in that case sounds like it's much, much closer than what had originally been reported. But it's because of this lack of actual details that we have this question about how close was this incident to the president himself. We'll have to wait to see when we actually get some concrete facts.
Yeah, no, hopefully we'll get some concrete facts about this as well. And I was also talking to Scott about the golf course in which he was on, which was familiar to Secret Service, but the vastness of a golf course is very difficult to protect. In your eyes, the perimeter around Trump as he moves around this golf course, how difficult is it for law enforcement to make sure he is protected? How many people are around there? What are your kind of thoughts on this? Just the fact that he's on a golf course frequently, it's one, his own property in West Palm Beach. How difficult is it to kind of keep that perimeter at the bubble around him significant when he's on a golf course like that?
So I think that is a question that would best be addressed by a retired Secret
Yeah.
Service agent who might be able to give you what their standing orders are, what if they would share that information with you. But you notice the fact that he has his protective detail that is right there next to him. They are constantly real close to him to protect them against any type of attack on his body from the immediate area. But during the rally, which was a much bigger area, they had the outer perimeter, the middle perimeter, the inner perimeter. But out on a golf course, that's very hard to establish. Another thing that occurred at the Pennsylvania site was that Secret Service normally would have a drone up in the air, and that apparently they were having difficulties with their drone on that particular day. One would think that drones would be another part of this component of protection there on a golf course, something to be able to give you that bird's eye view of the entire area, to be able to try to identify a threat at a distance. After all, it's not the same as if you are at a static location and you can put counter snipers around. A golf course, you can't do that. And so it becomes a more difficult situation, but less difficult at the same time, in that you're not going to have people approach the president without being seen on a golf course. But at the same time, golf courses are huge, and a person can take a sniper fire from a thousand yards away and deliver accurate fire if you're a well-trained sniper. So it is a difficult environment, but again, that's something that Secret Service would be better to
Oh, yeah.
answer than I would.
Of
It's
course.
outside my area of expertise.
No, of course. And it's interesting just to note the kind of protective nature of the Secret Service versus the FBI doing the investigating into maybe what transpired after the fact and looking into what's going on there. Let's just continue on because we're also getting more reporting right now from Meg Kennard, AP reporter, talking about this new report coming in as an AK style firearm was recovered near Trump's golf course where shots were fired. This, according to two law enforcement officials telling the Associated Press. So this is a somewhat big development about this because we also heard from Meg Kennard within the last hour or so about the Secret Service and their interaction with this potential suspect, as well as the Secret Service agent opened fire at the suspected person with the weapon while Trump was golfing. So those are just two details from the Associated Press from Meg Kennard. In terms of the AK style rifle that was recovered, what do we make of that? Is that interesting to note for you?
Oh, absolutely. So AK-47 found, or AK type weapon found there in the parking lot, and that a Secret Service agent may have exchanged rounds with this person. That makes it into a much more serious situation than what we had originally heard. And I think there was also reports of a GoPro being found in the area, which, if true, would show that this person was intending to film what they were doing, to take video of their activity. Um, we know that in some incidents, usually hate crime incidents or terrorist type incidents, the person involved in it has actively streamed their actions, and so whether this GoPro was capable of being interacting with the person's phone and might have gave them an ability to stream this, that would be really interesting if that turned out to be the case. But these details are showing that if true, that this is somebody who was intent on carrying out actions against the president, the former president, and that this would put it in the realm of another assassination attempt, as opposed to an exchange of gunfire between two people unassociated with the president, but in that vicinity. This becomes much more serious, much more an attack on the former president.
Yeah, much more sinister potentially as well. And we'll see what comes of this. Let's talk about the AP reporting that the AK style rifle connection. And we know we talked about the vicinity and that word, what it means, what it could mean in terms of closeness to the former president. Does that give you any details of the closeness? The fact that we maybe now know what weapon the suspect might have had?
So handguns are better at close ranges than rifles are, but rifles give you the capability of firing at a distance. Plus, a rifle round is much more serious if it hits a person than a handgun round. No, nonetheless, a 22 handgun can kill you if it hits you in the right location, but a rifle round much more serious. But the AK-47 also, or an AK style weapon, also usually has a much larger capacity magazine, and consequently would be more rounds towards a target. So if I were intending to do something like this, I would rather have a rifle than a pistol. And it would give me the luxury of distance and the luxury of additional firepower, as well as the stopping power of that weapon. So, again, a much more serious attempt if it's a rifle than a handgun, but handguns can kill you just as easily.
All right, that is a good point. I just wanted to ask you about that as we're getting these details piece by piece, connecting the puzzle, building the puzzle of what we know, what's to come with this. Ken Gray, former FBI agent. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take us out to this press conference as soon as it gets going, but hopefully we'll hear from the Palm Beach County Sheriff after this incident as Donald Trump says he's safe after gunshots reported in his vicinity this Sunday afternoon in Florida on the golf course. You were also hearing about potential digital forensics, and we learned a lot about that kind of topic in the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Thomas Matthew Crooks as well. And we do know that a suspect is in custody after Martin County, their law enforcement pursued an individual on I-95, shutting down that, a suspect in custody. In terms of the interview, in terms of the digital forensic evidence, what kind of questions are they asking of this individual now that they have them in custody? And they say they are connected to what went on at the Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago, but we don't know officially yet, but that's what they're saying. What kind of questions are asked of this individual?
All the basics: who, what, when, where, why, and how. You want to know who this person is, what their intention was, where they got the weapon at. Were they acting in concert with anyone else? Did anybody direct them to do this? All this type of basic questions that you would ask or will be asked. However, there is a wrinkle here: is that if the person lawyers up when they read him his rights, he doesn't have to answer any questions, and you can't force him to do so. And so, law enforcement will want to ask these questions as quickly as possible before the possibility of the suspect lawyering up and refusing to talk, refusing to answer those questions.
Yeah.
Often, a person in an incident like this wants their story to be known. They want it to be known why they took these actions, and so that might not be a potential wrinkle in this that we may not hear from the person. But they still will try to hit them early with these questions to try to get answers before a lawyer tells them don't say anything.
Yeah, and of course, you mentioned maybe potentially the GoPro, the video device there on hand, like you mentioned, trying to showcase what happened. I do want to ask you because there was a lot of discussion back in Butler, Pennsylvania about Crooks and whether he had someone there alongside him as well. How important is that information? How much are law enforcement pressing him about that to make sure that the former president is safe, that no one else is involved at all?
Yeah, that's why you got to get the protectee out of the area, even if you have the person either in custody or, in the case of Crooks, dead on the scene. Is that there may be other persons involved that could continue to be a threat. So, because of that potential of additional threats, you get the protectee out of the area. And that's what they did. They got President Trump out of the area. The fact that that you want to know whether there were others involved, because you might need to be rounding up yet other suspects in this case, and show that this is a bigger plot. Right now, there's only information that there was one shooter and that that person may be in custody. I want to stress may be in custody because, again, we don't know if they saw the car leave, they saw the suspect hop in the car and leave, or if they saw a car leaving while this was going on, and that the person be it that was pulled over may not have been the person that was engaged in this activity there with the AK-47. That's
No,
right.
that is a
But
very good.
I'd like to point out something else is that the investigation of Crooks showed that he was checking the schedules of both President Biden and former President Trump at the time, and did not seem to have a particular target in mind until that rally got scheduled for Pennsylvania.
All
And
right, let me
so,
cut you off here, Ken. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we do have them stepping up to the podium right now. And before we get to it, I do want to put up this tweet right now from Aisha Hosni saying the FBI is now investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of the former president. They are stepping up to the podium right now, but this is a big news as Fox News reporter saying the FBI responded to West Palm Beach, Florida, and is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of the former president. As, of course, the former president is safe after the initial reports were gunshots in his vicinity. Stepping to the podium, hopefully, right now, Palm Beach County Sheriff and much other maybe Secret Service on hand for this, but they're not at the podium as of yet. But this is a big developing news story. FBI investigating this incident as an attempted assassination of the former president. Nearly 2 months since, more than 2 months since what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Ken, I'm going to bring you back in because we're still waiting for this press conference a little bit, but there's some new information right now. And let's just hang with it, Ken. They are stepping to the podium. Let's listen in to this update from Florida law enforcement right here on Live Now from Fox.
Sorry to hold you all up. We're waiting for the representative from the Secret Service and the FBI. Is there anybody streaming right now? Yes.
All right. As you can see, they're waiting on law enforcement, Secret Service agents to step up. Of course, we are streaming this live, raw, and unfiltered of this moment. The FBI says they are investigating what is an assassination attempt against Trump, the second in 2 months. Ken, let's bring you right back into the conversation. I know you're still tuning in. We'll take you on to this press conference as soon as it happens. But now we hear the FBI saying this is an assassination attempt of the former president, Donald Trump. What do we make of this? What criteria does it qualify as an assassination, and how big of a development do we hear from the FBI right now?
So, Andy, if there was if the word is true that there was a Secret Service agent that may have exchanged rounds with this person, then the FBI would be investigating that, whether it was an attempt on the president or not. Is that any assault on a federal agent falls into the responsibility of the FBI? And so I would not. I would hold off on saying that it's because it was an attempted assassination that the FBI was involved. The FBI would be involved anyway.
I got you. All right, let's stay with us, Ken. I'm just going to dive back into this audio just so people can hear what's going on. We'll take you out to this in full, and I'll have you react right after. But let's listen into this breaking news event: the FBI investigating this assassination attempt against Trump in Florida on this Sunday.
We'll just take it into custody thereafter. Who's the Secret Service man? Well, there was another guy.
All right, you're still watching this as they will step to the podium in a matter of moments. The FBI investigating assassination attempt against Trump. I do want to give you a rundown of some of what transpired since 2 p.m. this afternoon in West Palm Beach, Florida, after shots were fired at this golf club there. Trump was reported safe after gunshots in his vicinity. This, according to the campaign. No injuries were reported. The shots were fired at Trump's West Palm Beach, Florida golf club. We did hear from the White House as Biden and VP Harris were both briefed, and they said they were, quote, relieved Trump is safe. A Secret Service agent reportedly opened fire at a suspected person with weapons while Trump was golfing. An AK-style firearm was recovered near the course where the shots were fired. The course was partially shut down for Trump as he played, as per likely common protocol. Agents were a few holes ahead when they noticed a person with a firearm. Agents fired when the person appeared to push the rifle muzzle through the fence line. The suspect, believed to be connected to a shooting, was taken into custody after they shut down I-95. The FBI now investigating this as an attempted assassination against the former president. And this comes just over 2 months since what transpired in Butler, Pennsylvania, the attempted assassination at a rally in that campaign. So let's just continue to watch this here on Live Now from Fox unfold in real time as they will give us what we know, some concrete information. We'll hear from Palm Beach County Sheriff, hopefully, and also representatives of the Secret Service. Let's listen into this here on Live Now from Fox as they will hopefully step to the podium soon. All right, looks like this is still going to take some time. So Ken Gray, if you're still with me, we're going to continue just our conversation a little bit, monitoring this. And we might just, as we start, as I ask a new question, that's usually the timing of it as they will step up to the podium. So we'll get to them briefly, but we're going to continue our conversation just about this assassination attempt against Trump as the FBI now investigating it. And you kind of mentioned some of the criteria. Lay it out for us again as we head into this press conference. What an assassination attempt is, the definition, and what the FBI is doing now that we know that that's what they believe it might be.
FBI is responsible for assault on federal agents, and they are also responsible for assault on the president or the vice president or foreign officials. And so this is why the FBI is going to become the lead federal agency, despite that the Secret Service is responsible for protection of the president, investigations for attempts or actual assassinations fall under the FBI. But right now, you are looking at a press conference where they are waiting for the responsible part, all the different agencies that have a piece of this to be present there. They all will want to be part of this press conference, and so that's why we've got this delay, is waiting for some of the heads of the agencies to show up here to be able to speak to this matter, and also to make sure that they have the latest details before they go forward. You don't want to show up and try to provide information that you have details of that you cannot share, or that you're not in the position to share at that point. And so that's why we're seeing a delay right now, is just simply getting the people there and making sure that they have the facts that they can share at that moment.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And I believe I asked you if we thought it would be Palm Beach, the sheriff, or Secret Service, and what they might be. And of course, we didn't know at that point, but it appears that Secret Service would be on hand from this. And maybe how much of an information can we gather from the fact that they are likely going to speak, and how much information can the Secret Service give? Because like you mentioned, they are in terms of protecting the individual, the FBI in terms of the investigation. What kind of details does it tell you that the Secret Service might provide an update?
Let me remind you that their title is Secret Service, and consequently, they're not going to give you a lot of details about what they do to protect the president, or what they do that where there might have been an incident against the president, and that there was a gap in coverage or a possible problem there with it. They just don't give that information because it's not in their nature to provide details about what they do. That as a Secret Service, they are protecting the president here. And while on the other hand, the FBI, they say that's why they put the I in the FBI, is to do investigation.
Yeah.
And so you will be seeing the results of or hear about what the FBI is finding in their initial investigation, but it's all coming from other law enforcement.
All
and
right.
I'll shut up while they talk.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's get out there to this, Ken. Thanks so much. Let's listen in to what they have to say here as they're investigating this assassination attempt. Let's listen in.
Have everything. All right. So when we get done, think about your questions, because we're not going to take a lot, and keep them to the information that you heard. Don't get into what ifs, and because of this, we're not going to go there. All right. So keep that in mind, and we'll be good. So here we go. All right. 1:30 this afternoon. Call came out, shots fired. That was called in by the Secret Service. Because we're in constant contact with them all the time, we were notified of that, and we had units here that immediately sealed off the area. Fortunately, we were able to locate a witness that came to us and said, hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. So we had that information. Our real-time crime center put it out to the license plate readers. And we were able to get a hit on that vehicle on I-95 as it was headed into Martin County. We got a hold of Martin County Sheriff's Office, alerted them, and they spotted the vehicle and pulled it over and detained the guy. After that, we took the witness that witnessed the incident, flew him up there, and he identified as the person that he saw running out of the bushes and jumped into the car. Now, in the bushes where this guy was is an AK-47 style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks which were hung on the fence that had ceramic tile in them, and a GoPro, which he was going to take pictures of. So those are being processed right now. The Secret Service agent that was on the course did a fantastic job. What they do is they have an agent that jumps one hole ahead of time to where the president was at. And he was able to spot this rifle barrel sticking out of the fence and immediately engage that individual, at which time the individual took off. So that's what we know about the investigation. We have somebody in custody right now that is a potential suspect. We got a little bit more work to do on it, but as we usually do, as soon as we decide that we're going to book him into the county jail and the charges that he's going to be booked into, we'll get those to you and we'll get a picture of him and we'll get you his background. So now I'm going to turn it over to the representative of the Secret Service, and he's going to make a brief statement.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I first want to thank all of our law enforcement partners, to include the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office and the Martin County Sheriff's Office, for their involvement today. Former President Donald Trump is safe and unharmed following a protective incident shortly before 2 p.m. on Sunday at Trump International Golf Club at West Palm Beach. The U.S. Secret Service personnel opened fire on a gunman located near the property line, and this matter is under investigation. I'll turn it over to my partners over at the FBI.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Veltri. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office. The FBI has assumed the role as the lead federal law enforcement agency in the investigation of the incident that occurred earlier today at Trump International Golf Course here in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've deployed a number of resources, including investigative teams, crisis response team members, bomb technicians, and evidence response team members as well. What we need right now is for the public to avoid the area around the golf course. We will continue to support this investigation with the full resources of the FBI, alongside our partners with the United States Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office, as well as Martin County Sheriff's Office and state and local law enforcement. I would ask that if anyone has any information that may assist with this investigation, to contact our tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at tips, that's TIPS .fbi.gov. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Ehrenberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County. I want to thank Sheriff Bradshaw and our partners at the local, state, and federal levels. I'm here because our prosecutors are currently working up warrants and a motion for pretrial detention for the suspect. In that way, he will be kept in custody. But our filing of these warrants and charges at the state level does not preclude federal charges that could be coming. But in the meantime, it looks like the warrants and the pretrial detention motion will happen first. And again, I want to thank the cooperation we've had with our federal partners and at the local level. And thank you all for being here today.
Okay, we're going to make these pictures available to you. It'll show you a picture of the backpack and the rifle. And there's also a GoPro on the fence there where he was intent on filming what was going on. Even though we're going to have to secure a couple of areas around the golf course here, the public doesn't need to panic. We know that we got a post office, a library, and a school down the street. So we'll make it convenient for you to get to all the places you need to go, get your kids to school, get them over here to the post office or wherever else you need to go. It's safe. There's no more danger here, and we'll make it very convenient for you. So having said that, we're going to take a very limited amount of questions, and you can direct them to who you want to answer the question.
Sure. Did this individual make any statements as he was being detained?
No statement right now as far as his involvement in the incident, and there's further investigation to be completed.
What was his demeanor like?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the first gentleman answered. I misunderstood, or couldn't quite understand. So there was a rifle. So one of your agents saw on the golf course saw a rifle pointing to a fence. Was it a chain link? Okay, so he saw that, the agent.
That is correct, yes.
And the president or the former president was on the course behind him. How close?
It was 1 or 2 holes behind.
100%.
That because the bubble moves through the golf course, so our agents will get there first, clear it. He noticed that the rifle was pointed out. Our agents engaged. We are not sure right now if the individual was able to take a shot at our agents, but for sure our agents were able to engage with the subject. I don't know that.
Doesn't appear so.
Is there no,
Yep. Al?
How far away was the president? How far away was Donald Trump when this gentleman was caught and stopped?
Probably between 300 and 500 yards, but with a rifle and a scope like that, that's not a long distance.
For the Secret Service, how far was your agent from the would-be assailant?
That I'm not sure right now. We're still looking into that.
Reports are that 4 rounds of ammunition were fired. Were all 4 of those from your agent?
That is correct. 4 to 6. We're not sure yet.
Was there a long distance? Explaining why.
Yes.
and
Yes, ma'am.
WPF 25, I was wondering what how this was able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
I didn't hear all that. Say that one more time and talk up a little bit.
So how was this able to happen, and for future reference, is there any security in the golf course?
Well, you got to understand the golf course is surrounded by shrubbery. So when somebody gets into the shrubbery, they're pretty much out of sight. All right. And at this level that he is at right now, he's not the city president. If he was, we would have had this entire golf course around it. But because he's not, the security is limited to the areas that the Secret Service deems possible. So I would imagine that the next time he comes to the golf course, there'll probably be a little bit more people around the perimeter. But the Secret Service did exactly what they should have done. They provided exactly what the protection should have been, and their agent did a fantastic job.
Which direction was the shrubbery? Was north, south? I guess east, west, or south is the road?
The layout of the golf course, you got 3 holes, 5, 6, and 7, right? One of them runs parallel to Summit Boulevard. One of them runs parallel to Congress. And he was in an area in the shrubbery where he could see both holes. So the president was another hole back, which means he's about between 400 and 500 yards away.
So he was on the golf course?
Oh, he's on the golf course, yeah, but he's back a ways.
For the Secret Service, have you guys changed at all the way that you guys are protecting former President Donald Trump? This now potential second attempt on him. Can you just elaborate on how things have changed and what you make of all this?
Yes, the threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported. So we live in danger times. So yes.
Nope, we're done with questions right now. There's really nothing more for us to add. I just want to tell you, the Secret Service and the FBI and the State Attorney's Office have been fantastic to work with. And I can tell you right now, our agency with this real-time crime center was fabulous. That's how we got the guy. We started out with, we don't know anything, to where we had a tag, we had a vehicle description, and we got an area where we saw the person. So be proud of your law enforcement. All right, thanks, folks. We'll get back to you.
Where on 95 was it that Sheriff Watson
Yeah, she'll get the photos to you.
All right, you're just listening in there to local law enforcement and Secret Service and other people on hand for this breaking news event, as the FBI is now investigating what they're calling an assassination attempt against the former President Donald Trump at this golf course. They're detailing some of what was going on as the bubble around the former president on this golf course. A Secret Service member ahead of this group saw what they believe to be a muzzle sticking through a fence line on the exterior portion of the golf course. They confronted the individual and shots were fired. Of course, we're also seeing this picture, as it is going to be out there quite a bit, of what they say are an AK-style rifle with a scope, 2 backpacks, a GoPro as well. So this is the image that they were showing at this press conference of this assassination attempt. They did pursue the individual they believe that is connected to this on I-95. They do have him in custody. They said there was no statement yet from the suspect. All right, let's continue here on Live Now from Fox. Bring into the conversation national security expert Hal Kemper. Hal, thank you so much